partner is on the neurodivergent spectrum, you can't use the if they wanted to, they would as a measure of their devotion to you or your relationship. Communication style differ, but if you have a need, a want, or if you feel bad, you should state that explicitly.
If they wanted to, they would. They just don't care about you. That's how neurotypicals approach the situation. Where if you're in a relationship and you feel like the effort is not where you would like it to be, you're not getting that reciprocity from the other person, people say, oh, if they wanted to, they would. It doesn't work like that in a neurodivergent world. So you have to understand that when you're neurodivergent, and I know she said neurodivergent spectrum, I do believe ADHD can also be viewed as a spectrum of some sorts because there's different types. So similar to how autism is viewed on a spectrum, I believe ADHD is the same way. You have to understand that when you're neurodivergent, the way that you communicate with the world is most likely, well, it is. I'll just go ahead and say it. It's different from how a neurotypical person would communicate with the world. So we have to account for these differences in communication. I think it's quite obvious and clear to see how differences in communication can lead to a lot of issues. Maybe social cues are missed. Maybe somebody feels like the other person doesn't care, or they're not speaking up for themselves. You have to understand that if you are talking to a neurodivergent person, you're not being explicitly clear with what you want. You leave a lot of room for misinterpretation. And it's not your fault. More than likely, you are just going by the neurotypical rules because we live in a neurotypical world. Even though I'm seeing a lot more neurodivergent people being diagnosed, but we are judged on a neurotypical, basis. So that means that if you're talking to somebody and you just assume that they're neurotypical and you're not being explicit and you're talking in phrases and you don't want to say the thing, I'm telling you now, on behalf of the neurodivergent community, just say the damn thing. Just say the thing. You want them to have more date nights with you? Say, hey, I would like for us to have more date nights. You want them to spend more time with you? Hey, I'd like for us to spend more time. I feel like I don't see you enough. If you would like for them to give you space, you say, hey, I would like for you to give me space. I don't mean for us to break up, but on Tuesdays and Thursdays, when I come back from soccer practice, I'm drained. So on those particular days, is it okay if you give me some space on Tuesdays and Thursdays? You have to be explicit because there's so much room for misinterpretation, and sometimes you just think that your neurodivergent person is not putting in the effort. And I've gone through this personally. So I have been in situations where I've seen, my girlfriend's friends talking to her and like, girl, if he wanted to, he would. If he wanted to, he'd take you out. I was busy in school. I was working for a brighter future for the both of us. And we're neurodivergent. Sometimes it can be hard to manage your time. We have time blindness. So before you know it, the whole day is gone. Oh my goodness, I forgot to spend time with you. I didn't mean to do that. I lost track of time, and all of a sudden it's 9:00. It's time to go to bed. So I think not assuming that your neurodivergent partner knows exactly what you're talking about is the safest route to go. Because if you don't and you assume things, it may look like they don't care about you at all. Nah, I don't know. I don't know your relationship. So maybe they don't care. But more than likely, there's a really good chance that the neurodivergent people in your life care about you, want to be in your life, they value you, but the way that they express it might not be a way that you are able to feel that love and appreciation. So just to make things easier for all parties involved, it's better to use direct and literal communication. Be as explicit as possible. And that should solve a lot of problems.